All right, it's the Onan's Edge, folks. Thanks for checking out today's review of the Oknife Drever. So some basic specs, we got Bowler N690 steel on a full flat grind blade that is a modified Nessmuk. That is what this is most closely resembles. Very unique. Full stainless steel liners that are milled out on both sides to lighten the knife up a little bit. G10 scales. We got a liner lock design with nice lockup. We're riding on full ceramic ball bearings with a deep carry pocket clip. There is 3 inches of usable fine cutting edge. The scale length is 4.5 inches. The tip to tail length of the knife is 8 inches. And the knife weighed in on my digital scale at 3.4 ounces. So what do I like besides this unique blade shape? And it is pretty cool, folks. Ergos, ergos, ergos. This knife is super comfy. Whether you hold it back here in hammer grip, here's my large size glove hands. You got some extra room back here. You've got a choked up finger position here, and then you've got more of a full up grip here on the middle of the blade with a halfway decently thick spine. The knife is comfortable in all these positions. It's got scalloping on both sides that I really like. There's plenty of jimping on the knife. There's jimping up here on the back. So whether you're in the most rearward finger position or in the middle position, which would probably be the most common for a lot of people, this is where I found myself using the knife a lot, or you even want to choke up a little bit more, the knife feels comfortable. There's also some jimping on the flipper tab, which extends back here to the back. So when you got your hand locked in the rear position or when you've got both fingers on it, you can feel this jimping here and also here against your fingers. So it's nice positive engagement. The G10 is well done. And the biggest thing about this knife, it has a huge finger choil. I mean, this front finger choil is ginormous. It is really, really big. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Right? So it's comfortable. You don't ever feel like you're going to get your finger up there on this blade. And I know some people have bigger fingers than me, but you'll still like it. It's got some room here. It's got some purchase on it. And the same thing in the back here. They made this scalloping and this choiled area for either your index finger or your middle finger, depending on where you're holding the knife. They made it nice and big and nice and rounded off and smooth. And they scalloped both sides of the knife, which is really, really cool. It makes whatever finger position you get on it feel really solid and comfortable. There are no hot spots on the knife at all. The G10 is done pretty well, has moderate texturing on it. I wouldn't say it's super grippy, but it's not slick either. So those are the ergo points. And like I said, there are 3 hand positions on this knife, right? You got your rearward or hammer position like this, which you can also move up into saber. You've got your front choil position here, which is kind of a mid-cutting position. And then you can choke up pretty far on this blade like this and get into a really nice solid position for ripping through things like cardboard and stuff like that. So again, excellent ergos on this knife. The blade steel held up well to most of the regular cutting tasks I throw at it. Cardboard, some paper, making filings, and this N690 is really good. It's nice and fine edged, so it really made some really nice fine little curly Q shavings for fire starting. Cut through a few tie wraps and stuff with it. And the knife held up really well. Actually, when you strop this knife because of this N690 Bowler steel, this thing got scary sharp. It is really a really sharp knife. And like I said, the ergos on it are very, very good. The pocket clip also. The pocket clip comes with countersunk screws. Kudos to them for that. It is a deep carry clip. It doesn't have a super high or a super wide spoon on it, so it's comfortable in your hand and your pocket. This knife carried effortlessly for me. It carries so good most of the time, I forgot that I even had it in my pocket, and I put it in there with another knife so that I could get carry time with it. Again, there's no rough edges here. There's nothing to catch your hands on, even when the knife is closed. You don't feel the thumb stud here when you put your hand in your pocket to get stuff. So again, this knife carried really, really well. Was super impressed with that. And also the other thing is, it has 2 deployment methods, right? So you can flipper tab it, or you can thumb stud it. But the thing is, this knife is drop shut. Like, it is a pretty fidgety knife for its size. It is on dual ball bearings. It is tuned pretty well. Again, if you like fidgety knives, then you'd probably will like carrying this one because it is a drop shutty type of knife. Okay, so were there any dislikes or issues with the knife? Balance point. You know, I talk in a lot of my reviews about balance points. And when I do like a medium knife or larger, I like to talk about balance points. Well, unfortunately, all the other good things this knife has going for it, it is kind of handle heavy. The balance point is on this finger scallop, this secondary position here, and it's kind of more toward the rearward area of this finger scallop than the front. So it's well back of the pivot. I would say over an inch, maybe a little more than that. So the knife is a little bit handle heavy, but you know, it has such good ergos otherwise that you can forgive that. And it's not an overall heavy knife to begin with at 3.4 ounces. So we're not talking about a 5 or 6 ounce knife that's super handle heavy and you really feel a lot of weight. It's noticeable. It's noticeable that the knife is handle heavy, but it's not uncomfortable or so bad that you really feel like, wow, this feels like a lot of handle. It's pretty good actually. And like I said, if you're holding it toward the back, it feels really well balanced. If you're up here in the middle position or more forward, you will feel that there's a little bit more handle weight to the back. Just something that I want to point out to everyone. And secondly, it has a slightly thinner profile. The scales are not super bulky. They're really nicely done, rounded and chamfered, but it is just a tick, just a slightly little bit over 1/2 an inch of width here across the scales. So some people with bigger hands may find it a little narrow for them. For me, personally, it was perfect. I really enjoyed my time with this knife and carrying this knife. So let's do a couple quick size comparisons for you guys. So here's the Drever. We'll start with a knife that a lot of people have and know. We'll put it next to the Benchmade Bug Out. And you can see the Bug Out has significantly less blade, a similar handle length pivot to pivot. It's pretty close, but the Bug Out is way narrower than this knife. The Bug Out is so much narrower and feels so much less substantial than the Drever does. Okay, and now we're going to give you another knife that's very popular with people these days, and that's the TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing Atom. So if you look at this knife next to the Atom, I think this is a much better comparison. Here's the Atom, here's the Drever. So similar amount of cutting edge from pivot to pivot, you're pretty close. You get a little bit more handle length, just a little bit on the back edge here out of the Drever than you do out of the Atom, which is nice. So it is a really comfortable knife in hand, and both of these knives have good ergos. I would say that this one with this huge front finger choil is just a joy, and a lot of people would really, really like this. But again, you know, the Atom is a well-designed knife too. But there's your size comparison, folks. So let's summarize. This knife runs around 69 bucks. You can catch it on sale sometimes when Olight and Oknife has a sale and get it for around $60. It does have N690 blade steel. It is a unique configuration. It is good at very, very good at slicing and dicing through stuff. It's got great ergos. It's comfortable, and it does come in another color configuration. It comes in a all black hardware. So no blue highlights, all black, black blade, black hardware, and white scales, white G10 scales. And I've handled that knife. I actually think that knife, I like that knife better. I think it's a really cool looking knife. You might call it a stormtrooper look. But anyway, this is the Oknife Drever at $69. It's an impressive knife. This knife impressed me quite a lot. And the excellent ergos, multiple hand positions, it makes it a winner, folks. I'm giving this knife a thumbs up. Like I said, it does come in a black and white Imperial Stormtrooper type looking version, and that's probably the version I will buy when I purchase one of these knives. This one is on loan to me from Mr. Cue Ball himself. Thank you, sir. So there it is, folks, the Oknife Drever, around $60 to $70, depending on where you find it. Excellent little knife. That's what I got for you. If you enjoyed this video, think about hitting the like button and the subscribe button for me so you can be notified of future content. Thank you all for watching, and as always, stay sharp, folks.